Good afternoon. Victory Friday. Happy Victory Friday, Niner fans. We are here the day after a dub, and it feels so stupendous. Feels amazing. It feels great. It feels just joyous. It's great, especially because the 49ers, they beat the Seattle Seahawks. Oh, glorious day. DK was crying. He was upset. You had Geno Smith frustrated. I loved every second of it yesterday. Happy Victory Friday, ladies and gentlemen. Everybody in the comments, thank you for tuning in. Make sure you hit that like button, all that good stuff. And happy Victory Friday to you once again. We got a lot to talk about. Kyle Shanahan just gave the media all his updates for the fallout of the victory. Obviously, we want to be so happy that the 49ers won. We saw the rookies step up, man. You saw, Isaac Garendo, and you saw Renardo Green. Dog, man, they should start him. I hope they do. And Malik Mustafa. And then we got the injury update on Mustafa. So all these rookies really played good. Dominic Pooney, too. And, Debo and Kittle on his birthday and all this amazing stuff. And Brock Purdy, just putting all these stats together every week. And, the media just looking stupid. Every week they go out there and they trash the Niners. And the Niners, like I said, sometimes they start slow, but they got a squad full of dogs, and they get hated on because sometimes they need to be playing elite at every play. Like Nick Bosa gets trashed on because he's not taking over games. Well, he took over last night, but at the end of the day, 49ers won 3-3. Took care of the Seahawks. The Seahawks. This is the thing. They beat three teams to start the season with bad quarterback play. Bo Nix on his first career start. I mean, rookie on his first start, easy. And they played Jacoby Brissett, right? Not a tough quarterback matchup. And then Skylar Thompson against the Dolphins. Dolphins are really reeling. So if you look at the three wins that the Seahawks had, it really didn't play anybody worth a damn at quarterback. And Brock Purdy came in and he diced them up, sliced them up. He did what he had to do. And also, Seahawks were banged up. No excuses. Niners are banged up too. But hey, Niners, they took care of business. Again, it wasn't a pretty win. At the end, they almost kind of played like the 49ers and blew it. But hey, they figured it out, and that's a good win. They're going to build confidence. Eventually, the Niners aren't going to be blowing these games, right? You got to understand that right now it's a little slow start for the team. They might be tired coming into the season. A lot of drama in the offseason. They've been to a lot of big games over the last couple of years. Maybe they're a little tired mentally, but hey, they'll figure this stuff out, and they get the win. A win's a win, regardless. I'm sure that the Bengals would have loved to have won a game by barely winning it or holding on at the last second. Like the Bengals, they got one win. I'm pretty sure they'd like to have more wins, right? So let's talk about, the updates from Kyle Shanahan. Renee says, we needed this win. You know what? We definitely needed this win. You know what I mean? Can you tell me the logic of going for 2 points after the touchdown? Sometimes you throw logic out the window. Sometimes you just got to go for the gusto. Honestly, sometimes these coaches, they got to be aggressive. They don't always think about the more logical play. They don't always think about, with me and you, sometimes we see, it's black and white. You got to go for the points. Sometimes teams don't do that, but also there could be times where a player's hurt or whatever, and they can't, kick an extra point. But at the end of the day, teams got to do what they got to do. And the 49ers, they walked away with the victory. But let's talk about it. They didn't go without any issues. So there were some things that happened after the game. Obviously, Jordan Mason, he's dealing with now what's known as an AC joint sprain. He's day-to-day. This was reported yesterday that, they're going to get testing. Adam Schefter in the morning said that he's day-to-day. They don't, or it's an AC joint sprain. They don't think it's very serious. It's not a serious injury. So Kyle Shanahan confirmed today that it's day-to-day. So we'll see how he practices next week. They get a couple of days of rest. This is great that they don't play Sunday. And Jordan Mason could be able to come back next week. But again, it's really going to see how practice goes. I'm sure he's going to be limited maybe the first practice. But Jordan Mason's tough. He's a dog. He's a beast, man. So we'll see how it goes. But as of now, Jordan Mason is day-to-day. And shout out to Isaac Orendo, who really, really, really stepped it up for the 49ers. And hopefully he can continue that. And speaking of running backs, let's stick with the running backs. Christian McCaffrey, they're not going to open up the practice window for Christian McCaffrey this week, and he's not going to play against Kansas City. This is according to Kyle Shanahan. This is expected. We said yesterday there was a report by Albert Breer that he's most likely expecting to come back for a November return, right? Early November, which would be against Baker Mayfield and the Buccaneers after the bye week. That's pretty much the target. He's not going to be playing against the Kansas City Chiefs this weekend, or sorry, next weekend. They're not going to open up his window. So right now, Christian McCaffrey, they're going to continue to let him stay off the team in practice, but he's doing his rehab. He's ramping up. That's what you guys have to understand. Christian McCaffrey is ramping up. They're trying to make sure he's doing things safely, and they increase his workload every week. So when he's rehabbing, 1 week he's going to do X amount of, activity. Then the next week they're going to go and do more and then do more. And as long as he's recovering and he's not having any setbacks or flare-ups or anything, then they can continue to progress. Now, the moment he progresses and let's say he's like, oh, my calf don't feel right, then they got to tail it back down a little bit. But so far, they're moving in the right direction. This was expected that he wasn't going to play against the Kansas City Chiefs. But, hey, Isaac Guerrero stepping up was huge for the 49ers, along with a lot of other rookies. But Jordan Mason, again, day-to-day, Christian McCaffrey will not get his practice window open this week. But one player that will get his practice window open this week is Ricky Proehl. They're going to open up his practice window, and he should be back to practice on Monday. Now, it doesn't mean he's going to play, but he will be back to practice. They're going to try to see how he feels. This guy got shot in the chest 6 weeks ago, ladies and gentlemen, and he's going to be practicing on Monday. Like, that is absolutely insane, man. Absolutely insane that he's going to be it's just inspirational. According to Kyle Shanahan, he says that the ramp up would be slow and they'll wait and see how he performs in practice before they decide if he's going to play against the Chiefs. So it's not 100% that Ricky Proehl is going to play against the Chiefs. Again, they got to be careful. They want to ramp it up. They got to see how he responds to the practice. This is going to be the first practice he's had since he got shot. Actually before that, because he had the shoulder issue. So you got to realize this is a lot. This is a lot of pressure for Ricky. Just for him to be able to come back to practice is amazing for this guy. So it's not guaranteed that he's going to play, but he will practice next week. And that is an amazing, amazing, amazing story, man. What a guy. I love Ricky Proehl. Everybody does, right? It's amazing. Now, another rookie. Let's talk about another rookie. They had Malik Mustafa, who we talked about. He actually got the first interception by the 49ers secondary yesterday. The first of the whole entire season. They've played 6 weeks, and the first interception came in week 6, and it was Malik Mustafa. This guy is a dog. He is dealing with a low ankle sprain, which is good because a high ankle sprain is tougher. You probably miss a lot more weeks. The ligaments are, more damaged, a lot more issues when you have a high ankle sprain, more pain. It's just tougher to deal with, compared to a low ankle sprain. Low ankle sprain's a little easier to deal with, not as painful, less ligament damage and issues. So this is good. He's day-to-day. Malik Mustafa, you get a couple of weeks or a couple of days off this week to rest, Saturday, Sunday, ice that bad boy up, and he might be able to practice next week, probably limited. But good news, he avoided a major injury, and he's only day-to-day with the low ankle sprain. So very good news for Malik Mustafa. Now, on the other side, probably not the best news you guys want to hear. The kicker, Matthew Price, apparently he briefly dislocated his shoulder yesterday. He dislocated it, and then they popped it back into socket, and now he's got to get an MRI. It's crazy, dude. Like, this is crazy. His availability for the 49ers' next game of Kansas City is to be determined. This man went out there, and he tried to tackle. This man tried to tackle just like Jake Moody did the other day, and boom, shoulder came out of the socket. They had to pop it back in. Now he's waiting for MRIs. They don't know if he's going to be able to play. I mean, he's a kicker. You don't necessarily need your shoulder, but you don't want to be out there running around with the with the messed up shoulder. So we'll see. I can't believe back-to-back weeks our kicker got cooked out on trying to tackle a player. So it's not good. If his shoulder's not good and he can't play, they might have to go make another call on a kicker. Like, that is probably the craziest situation. And we all know that Jake Moody is dealing with a high ankle sprain. So I know someone just asked the question, what's the status on Jake Moody? Jake Moody has a high ankle sprain. He's out for at least a month, right? That's a tough injury. We just said high ankle sprain is tougher than a low ankle sprain when we were talking about Mustafa. So Jake Moody, high ankle sprain, he's out for a month. Now your backup kicker that you just signed is dealing with a dislocated shoulder that you popped into place, and now you got to see what the damage is. So he's getting MRIs. It's crazy. Appreciate you. Yeah, of course. Thank you for the love, Anna. It's tough to keep up with all the updates, but we love it, and that's what we got to do. So Jordan says, is there any update on Greenlaw? Nothing new. A couple weeks ago, Kyle Shanahan said it's mid-season. There's been no updates on Dre Greenlaw, but the good news is they said mid-season. So, yeah, let's recap those injuries real quick. Christian McCaffrey, they will not open his practice window. He will not play against Kansas City. Ricky Pearsall, they are opening up the practice window. He should be back to practice Monday, but it's not guaranteed that he will play against Kansas City. Matthew Wright, the kicker, he briefly dislocated his freaking shoulder, and his availability for the 49ers next game against Kansas City is to be determined. He'll be getting an MRI, according to Cal Shanahan. Malik Mustafa has a low ankle sprain and is day-to-day. And, of course, Jordan Mason is day-to-day with an AC joint sprain, according to Kyle Shanahan. Those are the injuries. Otherwise, the 49ers are healthy, other than that. Oh, man. Oh, man. So, tough, man. They got to deal with it. But the 49ers, they got to weather the storm. Despite the injuries, they get players stepping up. And the theme last night was the rookies stepped up for the injured. Hufanga, right? He was hurt. Mustafa came in, right? Mooney Ward, he was hurt. And by the way, Mooney Ward is day-to-day with the knee issue. I forgot to mention that. Mooney Ward went down, and here comes Renardo Green. Renardo Green, let me tell you some stats on Renardo Green. This guy needs all the love that you can give him because I'm telling you, man, this guy, let me pull up the stats. It was insane. He played against three top receivers of the Seahawks, so-called top three receivers, right? DK Metcalf, he had 3 targets on DK Metcalf. They tried to throw it to DK Metcalf 3 times on Renardo Green. He had 1 catch for 8 yards. Tyler Lockett, they tried to throw it to him 3 times against Renardo Green. He had 1 catch for 9 yards. Jackson Smith and Jigba, he had 2 targets. He had 1 catch for 18 yards. This man, Renardo Green, was a straight clamp dog last night. Unbelievable how good he was. We kept telling him, we kept saying, put him in. Young player. He's a dog. He was a great player in college, and he showed last night that he was a clamp master. I mean, holy smokes. Unbelievable. Keep this man in. Take Yadam out. Just let Yadam be a cheerleader because I'm telling you, man, this guy, Renardo Green, was an absolute just monster. He was so good on coverage. It was insane seeing this guy. And Diameter Lenore. We all heard Diameter Lenore barking, talking, saying what he said. We all heard Diameter Lenore talking that trash. He was talking so much trash. I love Diameter Lenore. This man is talking all that talk, and he literally clamped up DK Metcalf yesterday and in Jigba. Like this, man, Diameter was insane last night. This secondary, they played the best football I've seen them play all season long. 2 interceptions this year, and they're both by the rookies. Yeah, gotta love it. Love it, man. Whoo, love it. Jordan says this is Jordan's last year of his contract, right? I think he's going to be a restricted free agent. So the 49ers could kind of keep him if they need to, kind of like the Juwan Jennings thing, right? The tender versus, taking the draft pick, et cetera, et cetera. I'm pretty sure Jordan Mason, although he will be a free agent, he'll be a restricted. So the 49ers have a little bit of bargaining rights with Jordan Mason. So if he balls out this year, I'm pretty sure the 49ers will try to keep him. They need him. But, I mean, he's definitely worth the money that he will probably get paid this offseason. But, running back market's kind of crummy, so I don't know how much money he's going to get. But this guy was an undrafted running back, and he's really showcasing the NFL that I'm that guy. So, yeah, he's restricted, says Kawa. So the Niners got a little leeway there. They can probably match a tender offer and keep Jordan Mason for a year or two. That's what I expect them to do, just like they did with Juwan Jennings. So Jesus says, Green to be a starter, he needs to be. This man needs to start ASAP. ASAP, not Rocky. I'm telling you, man, this guy was so good yesterday. Absolutely clamps. And, those rookies, that's it. It was just rookies really showcasing that they got a deep team, man. And after this year, because there's a lot of free agents that are going to leave, not just, the names that you might think of. Hufanga, he might not be on this team next year, So the 49ers, they went out there and they drafted, not just for this year, but for the future. You got to think about that. Mustafa's probably going to be a starter for a long time on this team. Hufanga probably not going to come back next year. They have a lot of young linebackers. Tatum Bethune, right? He looked good yesterday. And who knows? Will Greenlaw be back next year? I hope so, but I don't know. And that's what the 49ers did. They got, Dominic Pooney, Isaac Guerrero. How many more years is CMC going to be on this team, And then you got a guy like Jacob Cowling and Ricky Persall, two young receivers. And, who knows? Will Debo be on this team next year? I don't know. I can't tell you that. But they have players in place just in case guys leave. Mooney Ward, he's in a contract year. He's kind of been, it's not kind of. He's regressed a little bit, and he's had the injuries. He hasn't been what he was last year, the All-Pro Mooney Ward. Renardo Green looks like he might be that guy that can take that role next year. We'll see. We'll see. But the 49ers do have a good, promising rookie class. They got a lot of free agents this offseason, so I think it goes hand in hand. But we'll see if they can continue to play. Jordan says, it's low-key sad to think that Greenlaw and Hufanga might actually not be on the team. It's sad, as a fan, you see the business side of it. We lose players every year. That's always sad. I remember a couple years ago we lost, DJ Jones. I really liked him. It was tough to lose him. And there's been a lot of other players the 49ers have lost that we all like. But, it's a business, and can't pay everybody. And especially, you got to understand next year they're going to have to pay big Brock Purdy. Maybe 60 mil. If you got to pay Brock Purdy, players are going to have to leave. There's going to have to be some rookie contracts that you're going to be using as starters. It just makes sense. You're not going to pay Hufanga a ton of money, $7 million, $8 million a year when you have Malik Mustafa on a rookie contract. I think the writing is on the wall on certain players. You know what I mean? So we'll see. Niners have to kind of shed some contracts next year because they got to pay Mr. Big Brock Purdy. So would I have Garendo or Bucky Irving? Honestly, Garendo showed us what he can do in Kyle's system, and that speed is why the 49ers drafted him, with the pick they had with him, and that's what he did. That breakaway speed, he's still young, he's still developing, but I love Garendo, man, and last night he showed me why they drafted him. That speed was insane. So Brock deserves his pay raise, absolutely. Mike, this current team deserves a Super Bowl. They really do. Brock Purdy, why you got to be so good, man? You know what? It's a blessing and a curse, right? To have a fantastic franchise quarterback, but then you got to pay him, and you're like, ooh. But it's great to have Brock Purdy, man. He diced them yesterday. It's so fun to watch Brock, man. 3 touchdowns. Look at the stats they had yesterday. Remember that stat Nick Wagner of ESPN posted yesterday? It said Brock Purdy posts his 8th career game with 3 pass touchdowns and 0 interceptions. That's the most in the NFL since he entered the league in 2022. Josh Allen and Jared Goff have 6 each. So Brock Purdy has 8, 3 touchdowns, no interception games since 2022. The next closest, Josh Allen and Jared Goff with 6. It's a stat, man. Every week, I tell you, every week this man puts up a insane stat, and everybody's, blah, blah. Oh, well. He puts up the stats like crazy. Every week, there's a new stat on Brock Purdy. When are they gonna die? When are they going to realize he's a dog, man? Did you see Colin Cowherd this morning? Did you see Colin Cowherd said he would pick Bo Nix over Brock Purdy? This man would pick Dak Prescott over Brock Purdy. He picked all these mid quarterbacks over Brock Purdy. This media they're just doing it for clicks. It's stupid. And you got a guy like George Kittle who's tearing it up because of Brock Purdy. Look how good George Kittle is in the red zone. He was never good at scoring touchdowns until Brock Purdy came around. That was the old knock on George Kittle. This guy's great. He gets 1,300 yards. He can't score touchdowns. Remember, every year we're sitting there going, why can't George Kittle score touchdowns? This year, 10 catches in the red zone, 65 yards, and 5 touchdowns in the red zone. All of those stats are most in the NFL. Shout out to George Kittle. He kind of fixed the red zone woes yesterday. But this guy, Brock Purdy, he comes alive with George. Him and George Kittle have a fantastic connection. And I'm so glad that George Kittle's scoring touchdowns because I was always so mad. I was like, God, George Kittle doesn't score touchdowns. Because I remember the debates. It was like, Vernon Davis is going to be better than George Kittle ever will be because George Kittle can't score touchdowns. Now, George Kittle scores touchdowns. Best tight end in the league, hands down. And his blocking, are you kidding me? The blocking of George Kittle is second to none. Travis Kelce is officially I don't want to hear anybody out there in the media say that Travis Kelce is better than George Kittle. Travis Kelce is fantastic tight end, one of the best tight ends I've seen. He's never been better than George Kittle because George Kittle never had a quarterback like Patrick Mahomes. I'm not saying Brock Purdy is Patrick Mahomes, but he has a great quarterback that can get him the ball in Brock Purdy. Finally has a guy that can get him the damn ball, and look what he's doing. And Brock Purdy, George Kittle does the blocking that Travis Kelce never does. And my boy George Kittle goes and celebrates with his wife. Travis Kelce ain't going to go celebrate with the Swifties. I love it. I love George Kittle. I love Brock Purdy. I love this team. I love Victory Fridays. Yeah. David says Correndo is the best running back in the league. I wouldn't say he's the best. He's good. He's a good young rookie. Jordan says, do you think there's any chance Ayuk gets traded this offseason? I don't think they're going to trade him. I mean, it's unfortunate. Maybe they might have to restructure his contract. And I know Brandon Ayuk's not putting up the stats everybody wants, but he's getting open. He's doing what he has to do. He's blocking. I mean, I talked about it last night with Smitty. I really feel, and it's so weird, and watching last night's game, it really hammered the theme home. It really hammered the fact home. Not Brock Purdy. Brandon Ayuk, he's a fourth option still. He's still not the top option. You know, you still got Debo. That's a big part of the game plan. Some games, it's like you got to go heavy Debo. And maybe him and Brandon Ayuk will rotate their importance in a game. Like last week, we saw Brandon Ayuk, but also Debo was coming off a hamstring injury. So that had something to do with it. Now, you also got to realize, it was a calf injury. Now, you also got to realize George Kittle is a big part of Brock Purdy's arsenal. Like Brock Purdy and George Kittle, their wavelength is so insane. And you got to realize in the red zone, we just talked about, Brock Purdy's going to find George Kittle. Brandon Ayuk's not that guy for Brock Purdy. He's not looking for him in the red zone because Kittle's going to get open quick over the middle, quick pass. Defense is bearing in on him. He's got to get rid of that ball. It's George Kittle. And then you got Jordan Mason, or whoever's the running back. That's your options. And then Brandon Ayuk. So I don't think they'll trade him, but he's still going to be the fourth option unless you get rid of some of these guys. So, but Ayuk's still going out there playing. I was starting to watch some 22 this morning, and he was getting open. It's just Brock's not getting the ball because the defense is coming at him. He's getting rid of the ball quick. A lot of, quick release type plays. But also, Debo Samuel was cooking yesterday, and they were running. Also, the Niners were running the ball. This was the game plan. Remember we said the Niners need to run the ball, and that's exactly what they did. There was a stat. Let me find it. Let me find the stat by the 49ers they posted. So the 49ers offense registered 228 rushing yards versus Seattle. This is the highest single game total since October 27th, 2019 versus the Carolina Panthers. Remember that game? The Niners ran wild for 232 rushing yards. Tevin Coleman was running on their necks. I mean, Debo had the jet sweep touchdown in that game. I remember that. But, that's the type of thing. The Niners were running. Gorendo, 99 yards. Mason, 73 yards. Purdy, 19 yards. Patrick Taylor, 16 yards. Debo had 15. Kyle Juszczyk had 6 yards in the tutty. So the Niners were running the ball, and that's what it is. That's Niner football. They have to get back to running the ball. We said it all week, and they finally did. And so, sometimes Brandon Ayuk's not going to get the ball because it's not the game plan. And Debo was cooking. So, gotta love it. It's the Avengers. It's the Avengers, baby. Yeah, Jordan says Trent McDuffie's going to be tough next week. I see a huge game for Jennings. I hope so. I think you might be right because if Ayuk's going to be covered up and they're going to try to put a lot of attention on Debo, this is a game where Juwan Jennings has to step up. And in the Super Bowl, that's exactly what happened. Juwan Jennings cooked the Kansas City Chiefs, and I think he might have to do it again. We all know if the 49ers would have won, Juwan Jennings, Super Bowl MVP. We all know it. It's going to be interesting, though, man. I'm excited for this next week. I'm excited for Sunday to sit down and relax, watch the games, and just know that the 49ers don't have to, put us through any PTSD or stress. Because Niner games are stressful, not going to lie to you. I love the Niners. I love that they win. I love that they've been going through, championship games and whatever. But it's a stressful-ass team to watch. I need a stress-free Sunday. It's going to be nice sitting back, having a little bit of Gold Bar whiskey, some pizza, some buffalo wings, and watching the games, man, and knowing the Niners already clinched that dub this week. Stress-free weekend. So, Lupe says, do you think Brock Purdy and BA also lost the chemistry because BA missed the time? I think early in the season, I will say the first 4 weeks, I think their chemistry was off. And I think that, Brandon Ayuk treated those first 4 games like preseason. I will say, I think their chemistry was off, their timing. I don't think so anymore. I think it's gotten back, maybe not 100% to where it was, but I think their timing's down. I just really think that Brock Purdy or not Brock Purdy, but Brandon Ayuk is just not always the top option. And their routes take a little bit longer to get open, and develop. Brandon Ayuk's going to run their longer routes, and sometimes Brock doesn't always have time to throw and wait for that long route to develop. So I don't think that their chemistry is as bad as it was 4 weeks ago. Earlier in the season, I was like, yeah, they're kind of off on this. They're not on the same page. But I think now they're on the same page pretty much for the most part. So Lenore going up to Eugene tomorrow. He should go watch that game, baby. Ohio State, Oregon. That's a game. My man Lenore deserves a day off to go watch his Ducks quack up on the Ohio State trash eyes, man. Let's go, man. Lenore, let's talk about Lenore. I love this guy. This guy talks so much trash. Niner fans get so heated because they're talking trash. Oh, we shouldn't be talking. This man doesn't care about what you think. He's going to talk trash regardless because he knows he's playing good. Even if the team loses, he knows he's been playing at a high level. He's been playing at a Pro Bowl level. Dice Boy says Commanders or Ravens. God, I want to pick the Commanders to win that game so bad. I want them to pull that upset, but I just think Lamar is going to do enough. They're a smart team. They got a great coach. Lamar and Henry, I think will get that win. And I think it's in Baltimore, so it's tough to play in Baltimore. For a rookie, JD5 is great, but it's a tough, hostile environment for the rook. So, but yeah, shout out to the Washington Commanders. Adam Peters doing good things over there. April says someone needs to smack the Chiefs. Might as well be us. Might as well. We might be the ones to give them their first loss of the season. I know a lot of people aren't too optimistic. I have a feeling the 49ers are going to give the Chiefs their first loss of the season. I'm just feeling it. I'm feeling it. We're going to do it. I hope so. I hope they do. I would love to see the Niners get a dub on the Chiefs at home. I mean, it's not going to make up for losing the Super Bowl. They'll still hang that over our dome piece. So, oh, we beat you in the Super Bowl. I already know that. But at least it would feel good to be the team to end the undefeated season for the Chiefs. So, how do I convince Kyle to start Green over Yadam? I think he's just going to watch the film this weekend. He's going to decide himself. I honestly think that Renardo Green's going to get that starting spot. The more he plays, the better he does. And I think Kyle realizes it. And I think he's going to watch that film and say, wow, Renardo Green's that guy. So, yeah, Jocelyn, I like being the underdogs too. It's nice to be the underdogs. It really is. So, but that's it for now. Victory Friday. That's a wrap. The Niners take care of business. We gave you the injury updates. Hopefully, we get a good weekend of rest. 49ers, they deserve the extra couple of days. They need it. You know, they've been playing banged up, but no excuse. The 49ers, they got to keep playing tough. They got to roll on. Next game at home. But shout out real quick before we leave. Shout out to the Niner fans that went to Seattle, man. It was like a home game. That's what Brock Purdy said after the game at the Amazon telecast, man. That's amazing. Niner fans came out to Lumen Field and made it a Niner game. And it's just credit to you, all you fans. Like, you know, I've been to a lot of games, go to a lot of road games, and when I see all these Niner fans, it's like, wow, Niner fans travel deep. So shout out to everybody that goes out there. I know it's not cheap. It's expensive to go to these games, but everybody that's spending their hard-earned money and checking out the Niners, man, you guys are amazing. The Niners need that energy. So continue to go to these road games and pack them out, wear that red. So I love you guys. You have a good rest of your day. Happy Victory Friday. And, you know, bang, bang. Niner gang, go, baby. Make sure you hit that like button. And we'll see you later. We'll catch you when I catch you.